Have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up before the sun, and for a moment, everything feels peaceful, almost magical? The house is still, the world is quiet, and it feels like you have a head start on the day. But then, just a couple hours later, you're already feeling drained, foggy, or even a little irritable. You wonder, wasn't waking up early supposed to make me feel better? The truth is, waking up before 4 a.m. can be a beautiful habit, if done right. For many of us, especially as we get older, our sleep patterns change. We tend to rise earlier, and that can be a gift. But the moments right after we wake up are more important than we often realize. Those first steps, those first choices, they can either set us up for a day full of clarity, energy, and joy, or leave us sluggish, stiff, and longing for another cup of coffee before 8 a.m. So if you've ever found yourself up before dawn and wondering why you're not feeling your best by mid-morning, this video is for you. We're going to talk about 5 very common mistakes people make after waking up before 4 a.m. and how to fix them with a few small shifts. These changes aren't complicated. In fact, they're incredibly simple. And best of all, they're perfect for folks like us who've gathered a bit of wisdom through the years and know that life is about quality, not just quantity. Let's start with one that surprises a lot of people. Waking up too fast. You might not think much of it. The alarm goes off, or maybe you just naturally open your eyes at 3:45 a.m. And boom, you're out of bed, lights on, making the bed, heading straight to the kitchen. It seems efficient, right? But your body's not a light switch. Especially as we age, our nervous systems need a gentler wake-up. When we jump out of bed too quickly, our blood pressure hasn't quite caught up yet. That's why sometimes we feel light-headed or dizzy first thing in the morning. And more than that, rushing into activity too soon after waking can throw off your heart rhythm and cortisol levels, which are naturally rising in the early hours to prepare your body for the day. Instead, give yourself a few quiet minutes. Before you even sit up, take 3 deep breaths. Stretch your fingers, your toes. Roll your shoulders. Let your body remember that it's safe, that you're in no rush. Then sit on the edge of the bed, plant your feet on the floor, and take one more breath before standing. This tiny routine, maybe 90 seconds long, can actually protect your heart and help your body adjust from sleep to wakefulness more gently. It's a small kindness you give yourself, and it matters more than you think. Now, the second mistake, and it's a big one, is skipping water. I get it. The first thing most people want in the morning is a hot cup of coffee or tea. It's comforting, it's familiar, and frankly, it helps get things moving, if you know what I mean. But when we wake up, we're naturally dehydrated. We've gone 6, 7, maybe even 8 hours without a sip of water. And here's the thing, our bodies need water to function well, especially our joints, muscles, and brain. That foggy feeling you sometimes get in the early hours? Often it's not a lack of caffeine. It's a lack of hydration. Now I'm not saying you have to chug a big glass of cold water the second you open your eyes. But keeping a small glass by your bedside or in the kitchen, and making that your very first sip of the day, before the coffee, can work wonders. It wakes up your metabolism, jump-starts digestion, and supports kidney function, which becomes more important as we get older. And if you want to take it up a notch, try warm water with a slice of lemon. It's gentle on the stomach and can help flush out toxins from the night. And while we're on the topic of routines, there's another mistake I see all the time, something so many people do, especially early risers, without realizing the toll it can take. They jump right into productivity. Emails, news, to-do lists. Suddenly, it's 4:30 in the morning and you're already stressing about the lawn, your prescriptions, or what the grandkids need next week. And before breakfast, your mind is spinning faster than your coffee maker. But mornings like this, mornings when you wake up early, are precious. They're quiet, peaceful, and deeply personal. They're not just a time to get ahead of the day. They're a chance to anchor yourself before the world rushes in. What if, instead of jumping straight into the noise, you spent 5 minutes doing something that fills you up first? Maybe you sit by the window and listen to the birds. Maybe you journal, just a few lines about what you're grateful for, or what kind of day you hope to have. Maybe you read a verse, a poem, or a page from your favorite book. It doesn't have to be long or complicated, but those first few minutes of intention can shift your entire mindset. Instead of feeling like you're chasing the day, you'll feel like you're guiding it. So far we've talked about easing into the morning gently, nourishing your body with water, and protecting your peace before the world gets loud. These small shifts may seem subtle, but they can completely change how your day unfolds. Now that we've laid the foundation with these important early choices, let's continue exploring what else we often overlook in those quiet, pre-dawn hours. Now that your body's gently awake, your mind is centered, and you've had that first refreshing sip of water, there's another trap that sneaks in, and it happens to the best of us. It's what I like to call morning isolation. You see, waking up before 4 a.m. can feel empowering. It's quiet, it's calm, there's no one calling your name. But over time, those hours can start to feel a little lonely, even a little disconnected. Especially if you're living alone or your partner's still asleep. It's easy to go through the whole early part of your morning without a single bit of human connection. Now, some solitude is wonderful. It gives us time to reflect, to breathe, to just be. But too much of it, day after day, can quietly chip away at our mood. And as we get older, staying emotionally connected becomes just as important as staying physically healthy. That doesn't mean you need to call someone at 4:15 in the morning, though I'll tell you, I've had more than one friend who loves to text a good morning to their neighbor or their sister, knowing they'll read it later. But connection doesn't always need to be direct. You might listen to a calming podcast, something with a friendly voice. Or maybe you play a voice memo from your grandchild that you saved last week, just to hear their laughter again. Even saying a short prayer for someone else, your kids, your neighbor, the world, is a form of connection. It gets your heart moving outward instead of curling in. Because let's be honest, it's easy to feel invisible in those early hours. But you're not alone. You're never alone. And reminding yourself of that, in some small way, each morning can lift your spirit more than you know. Now, there's another mistake, one that's so sneaky, we often don't notice until much later in the day. And that's skipping movement. Not exercise, necessarily. I'm not talking about putting on gym clothes and heading out for a jog. I mean the simple, intentional movement that tells your joints, your muscles, and your whole body, hey there, we're alive and well today. It's easy to forget, but our bodies stiffen during sleep. When you wake up before 4 a.m., your circulation's still warming up. If you go straight from bed to chair to breakfast table without any movement in between, you're setting yourself up for stiffness, and often aches that last all day. The good news? It doesn't take much. Just a few stretches, standing or seated, can make all the difference. Maybe a gentle neck roll, some shoulder circles, reaching up like you're trying to grab a star off the ceiling. Even rotating your ankles while you sit and sip your tea. It doesn't have to be fancy. The goal isn't to burn calories. It's to wake up the body with kindness. Think of it like oiling the gears on a beautiful old clock. You're keeping everything smooth and graceful. Some folks enjoy a short walk right after waking, even just a stroll around the kitchen or on the porch. If the air's cool and the stars are still out, that can feel like a sacred moment. It's your time, and your body will thank you for showing up for it. What's especially powerful is pairing that movement with breath. Inhale as you reach, exhale as you fold. It helps oxygen flow through your system, feeds your brain, and gives you a feeling of alertness that coffee alone can't match. Over time, It can even help with balance and reduce the risk of falls, something we all want to stay ahead of. But here's the thing, none of these routines, not the water, not the breathing, not even the movement, will have their full effect if you fall into the next mistake. And that's starting your day without fuel. I'm talking about breakfast, or more accurately, the lack of it. A lot of early risers think, I'm not hungry yet, or I'll just wait until later. And sure, that might have worked back in your 30s or 40s. But as we age, our bodies need more steady nourishment to maintain muscle, keep blood sugar balanced, and avoid that mid-morning energy crash that leaves us reaching for something sugary just to get by. You don't need a huge meal, and you don't need to force yourself to eat the moment you wake up. But within the first hour or so, giving your body a little healthy fuel can change everything. Think simple. A slice of whole grain toast with almond butter. A few spoonfuls of oatmeal topped with berries. A boiled egg and half a banana. Even a smoothie with a bit of protein powder, if you prefer something light. It's not about calories. It's about consistency. When you give your body the nutrients it needs early in the day, especially after waking before 4 a.m., you're telling your system, you can rely on me. I'm going to take care of you. And that message ripples through your blood, your brain, your mood. You stay sharper, steadier, and you're less likely to hit those energy slumps or mood dips that sneak up around 10 a.m. And here's the bonus. When you eat a balanced breakfast, your digestion starts working earlier, which supports regularity. I know it's not glamorous to talk about, but let's be honest. A good, predictable bathroom routine makes a huge difference in how we feel throughout the day. And if breakfast helps that along, well, that's another good reason not to skip it. So far, we've looked at how rushing into the day, skipping hydration, isolating ourselves emotionally, avoiding movement, and delaying breakfast can quietly sabotage what could have been a peaceful, powerful start to the day. But there's one more mistake. One that's easy to overlook and can undo so much of the good you've already done. And it's letting your mind slip right back into yesterday. You might know the feeling. You're sitting with your coffee or tea, maybe looking out the window at the first hint of sunrise, and suddenly your thoughts drift. Something someone said. A conversation that didn't sit right. A worry that crept in last night and still hasn't gone away. Regrets. To-do lists. That feeling of not being quite caught up. With life, with family, even with yourself. When you wake up before 4 a.m., you're given this rare gift. Silence, stillness, a clean slate. But so often, we fill that space with leftover noise from yesterday. We replay things we can't change. We let old fears whisper in our ears, and before we know it, the peace of the early morning turns into another round of quiet stress. Here's the truth. Your early hours should be yours. Not your past's. Not the world's. Not your mistakes or your worries. Yours. What helps is gently guiding the mind toward the present. Not with force, not with pressure, just a nudge. One lovely way to do that is with a morning grounding ritual. Nothing fancy. Nothing that takes more than a minute or two. It might be as simple as sitting with your hand over your heart, breathing slowly and whispering, I'm here. I'm safe. Today is new. It might be writing a single sentence in a journal, not a whole entry, just one thought, one hope, one thing you're grateful for. Some people light a candle. Others stand by a window and thank the sky. It doesn't really matter what you do. What matters is that you claim those first moments for yourself. You remind your mind, we're starting fresh today. Yesterday can wait. Tomorrow doesn't need to rush in. Right now is enough. That's how you build strength in your spirit, not by pretending everything's perfect, but by refusing to let old stories steal your new beginning. And if you've made that mistake, letting your mind drift backward, don't be hard on yourself. We all do it. What matters is noticing it, catching it gently, and choosing something better. You can always begin again, even at 4:13 in the morning. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds nice, but what if I've already gotten into some of these habits? What if I've been making these mistakes for months or years? And I'll tell you something, from one soul to another, it's never too late to start again. Your body, no matter how many birthdays it's celebrated, still responds to kindness. Your mind, even with all the miles it's traveled, still brightens when you speak gently to it. And your spirit, well, that part of you never grows old. It just needs a little light now and then to shine again. Maybe you'll start tomorrow with a glass of water and a slow breath. Maybe the next day you'll add a short stretch or take a walk while the birds are singing. Maybe you'll reach out to someone you care about with a simple message, just thinking of you this morning. Or maybe you'll begin by not doing something, by not skipping breakfast, by not diving into yesterday's worries, by not sitting in silence too long. Sometimes the things we stop doing matter just as much as the things we begin. And you don't have to get it perfect. You just have to begin with intention and keep showing up. Because those early hours, they're a sacred invitation. Not everyone gets to wake before the world. Not everyone has the quiet space to reflect, to move, to nourish, to grow. But you do. And when you start claiming those hours with care and purpose, something beautiful happens. Your whole day starts to change. You'll feel steadier, less rushed. You'll feel more connected, to your body, to your breath, even to others, even if you're alone. And slowly but surely, your energy will rise. Not the jolt of caffeine kind of energy, but the deep, steady, true kind that comes from treating yourself with compassion. So, if any of these 5 morning mistakes sounded familiar to you, skipping water, staying too still, isolating your heart, skipping breakfast, or letting your mind get stuck in the past, I want you to know something. You haven't failed. You're not behind. You're just human. And now, you're aware. That's more than half the battle. Every sunrise is a second chance. A quiet reminder that life, even in its simplest moments, still wants to meet you with kindness. And you deserve that. You deserve mornings that feel light and purposeful. You deserve days that begin with calm, not chaos. And you deserve the peace that comes from knowing you're doing something good for yourself, no matter how small it may seem. So, tomorrow morning, when your eyes blink open in the quiet before the birds begin to sing, take a breath, place a hand over your heart, and remember, this is your time. And you're doing just fine. If something in this video spoke to you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Share what your mornings look like, or what small change you're inspired to try. And if you think someone else in your life might need a gentle reminder like this, maybe a friend, a sibling, or even a neighbor, feel free to send this their way. Don't forget to tap the like button if this helped you, and if you'd like more videos like this, filled with warmth, reflection, and real talk for real life, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're building a little community here, one sunrise at a time. Until next time, take care of your mornings, take care of your heart, and remember, you're not too late, you're right on time. Here's to living your best life, at any age.